Remember Troopergate, that abuse of power investigation of Sarah Palin about whether she fired the public safety commissioner over a personal grudge against her ne'er-do-well brother-in-law, the state trooper? Remember that Palin said she fired the guy over a budget dispute or maybe a lobbying trip? Troopergate is getting really interesting again. First, the formalities. The Alaska Supreme Court today refused to shut down the legislature's investigation into whether Sarah Palin abused her power as governor when she fired Alaska's top cop, Public Safety Commissioner Walt Monaghan, for refusing to fire her ex-brother-in-law, State Trooper Michael Wooten. So the case is going to go on. And now the good stuff. Todd Palin's account of what got Walt Monaghan fired by his wife. Alaska's first dude is now officially on record with a 25-page statement in response to questions from investigators. For someone who spent weeks resisting subpoenas on the subject, Mr. Palin sure did have a lot to say. As for his former brother-in-law, Trooper Wooten, Todd Palin accuses him of everything from domestic violence to drinking and driving to irresponsible spending and permitless moose hunting. The first dude makes no apologies for going after Wooten, saying, quote, "I had hundreds of conversations about Trooper Wooten over the last several years with my family, with friends, with colleagues, and with just about everyone I could, including government officials. In fact, I talked about Wooten so much over the years that my wife told me to stop talking about it with her." As for the firing of Commissioner Monaghan, Todd Palin denies that it was related to Monaghan's refusal to fire the trooper. He backs up his wife's claim that the firing was a professional dispute over budget issues and staffing problems. But then he goes on to re-dig the credibility hole. According to the first dude, quote, Monaghan stated that he had heard a rumor from an unnamed source that Sarah was supposedly driving Trig, then around 9 weeks old, in her car without an approved infant car seat, and that this situation could be awkward. Sarah responded that I've never driven Trig anywhere without a new approved car seat. I want to know who said otherwise. Please provide me that info now. Mr. Palin also recalls a tug-of-war with Monaghan over use of the state-owned plane that was managed by Monaghan's department. He says, quote, "There were some discussions about Monaghan related to travel and the lack of availability of the plane. It seems like whenever Sarah needed this plane, it was unavailable. We were concerned that the Department of Public Safety was retaliating against Sarah for selling the Murkowski jet that Department of Public Safety officials enjoyed using." But wait. The reason he was fired was the budget dispute thingy, right? None of this is actually helping your case, sir. Joining us now, Alaska State Senator Bill Wielechowski, a Democrat who sits on the Judiciary Committee. Senator Wielechowski, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Hi, Rachel.
This statement released by Todd Palin seems to bolster the allegations being made against the governor. Why would Mr. Palin admit to this longtime grudge against Trooper Wooten or to these problems with Commissioner Monaghan if the point is to prove that they didn't fire Monaghan because of this personal grudge or issues with Monaghan?
Well, it's really a strange turn of events because for the last 2 months now we've been hearing from the governor and from Todd Palin himself that they had very little to no interaction with Walt Monaghan on this issue at all. And we also heard the governor herself come out and say point blank that any claims that that I or my family tried to impact Walt Monaghan's, have him fired or tried to have any discipline taken against Trooper Wooten are, quote, absolutely outrageous. And what we're seeing here now is a concerted effort, at least by her husband, who spent the last couple of years trying to get Trooper Wooten fired.
It seems like just yesterday, the Republican Party, the McCain-Palin campaign, they were trying to quash this investigation, or at least get it put off until after the election. We had seen the resistance to subpoenas from state employees as well as from Todd Palin. Why do you think they have changed tack on that and voluntarily released the statement from Todd Palin? Do you think they're trying to get out ahead of the story?
I think so. They've lost every effort that they've made to try to kill this investigation. The governor, and people need to be reminded, this investigation started with a committee that was composed of 10 Republicans and 4 Democrats, and that committee voted unanimously to go forward. The governor welcomed the investigation. She said so on repeated occasions, instructed her staff to cooperate with this investigation. It was only after she was nominated as vice president that everything changed, and she began to she went out and hired her own personal attorney and tried to stop the investigation. They filed, there have been 3 lawsuits filed. All of them have been dismissed. There have been, the Attorney General was working with the McCain campaign, admittedly. The McCain campaign was working with various other attorneys to file lawsuits. There were lawsuits filed by Texas law firms, outside law firms, in an attempt to kill this investigation. Every attempt has been thwarted, and so now they really have no other option. The report should be released tomorrow, and I think they're trying to get out in front of it and get their side of the story out in an uncontradicted way at this point.
We're just receiving word, literally since I've been talking to you tonight, that on the eve of that legislative abuse of power investigation report expected out tomorrow, Governor Palin has released her own report, clearing her of any wrongdoing. According to the Associated Press, the report says it's a report from the McCain-Palin campaign. It was released tonight, and it says the firing was based on a budget dispute. Since then, the report says the matter has been muddled with innuendo, rumor, and politics. So I guess we have the answer to that question. We've got this list of answers to questions released from Todd Palin. We've now got a preemptive clearing themselves report released from McCain-Palin tonight, all in advance of what we're due to hear tomorrow from the investigator in this case, Branch Flower, appointed by the state legislature. All of that would seem to indicate that they think that the Branch Flower report coming out tomorrow is going to be a drag for them.
Well, Mr. Branchflower is a respected prosecutor. He's really held his cards close to his vest. I don't think there's anyone in the state, quite frankly, who knows what the results of that report will be. I don't know the results. I haven't seen the report. I've talked to Mr. Branchflower maybe twice in my whole life. But the governor had her attorney general conduct his own internal investigation on this, and so I suspect that they know a lot more than the rest of America and the rest of Alaska knows, and they are concerned about the results of the report.
Alaska State Senator Bill Wielechowski, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.